Ah, Whoa, hey, I guess I got you. Welcome. This is Dr. Francis Toy, Doctor of Naturopathic Medicine and Wellness Coach. Today we're discussing 6 ways to improve your energy levels. This is for everyone out there who's struggling with fatigue and tiredness. It's a real battle, and so many people are struggling. So let's lay it down and take you through all the steps on how to restore your energy. So, number one, what is your why? It's an interesting question. It's a bit of a paradox, isn't it? Well, everything starts with having a clear reason and a good understanding of what you want to achieve. We're talking about motivation. But discipline eats motivation for breakfast. So it's really about what steps are you willing to take to improve your energy? Well, I have a lot of compassion for people out there that are struggling. I worked overseas for a couple of years in the very competitive wellness space in the spa industry, and the hours were tough and the clients were tough. Amazing and very blessed, but it can drain you out. I mean, and even the time you have for a break, it eats in from client services and administration. I was left really burnt out after those years working there. And I had to come back and took almost a year to recover. So it's really about understanding, why do you want to change? What do you want in your life? What is on the other side of the tiredness and fatigue? What are your goals? What are you aiming to achieve? I know for me, I've always been a person and I'm thankful to grow up in a very competitive family in terms of sports, and I became exceptionally fit from growing up in that environment. But I also started disliking it a lot. I really hated the gym and I hated the competitive sports. And then I started to enjoy running, and it took me by storm. And I love trail running now, and I will continue to do it as long as I can. And then I heard about the Ironman races, and I decided to do this crazy thing and sign up for the Ironman, the half Ironman. And it was the best journey of my life. That experience, bar none, a highlight of my life. But at the end of the day, I would have never reached that if I didn't have a clear why in terms of why do I want to do that. For me, and this is really to re-look at goal setting, because goal setting, as powerful and useful as it is, trumps experiences every day of the week and twice on Sundays. What do I mean with experiences? You have a goal list, you have your to-do list. But when you achieve all of those goals or achieve all of those to-dos, are you actually moving the needle towards what gives you purpose and fulfillment in life? Meaning the experiences are more important than the actual goals in and of themselves. So on that journey for training for the half Ironman, because I had this goal setting or experience setting methodology in my mind, I was I love every single moment of this training. And even if I don't complete this race, I'm going to love that swim. I'm going to love that bike. And I'm going to love that run and give it every single ounce of my being that I have. And a lot of things can go wrong. And a lot of things did go wrong for many other athletes during that race. Um, and I'm just, by God's grace, that I finished that race in the first place. On to point number two. It's about making sure that your body is actually awake. I know you caught me sleeping in the beginning. How many of us are caught out and are tired and fatigued and really battling to stay awake during the day? One of the battles is that we are indoors most of the day. 80%, 90% of our work lives were spent indoors. Our bodies are hardwired to respond to light stimulus, natural sunlight stimulus, to wake up the body. So if you're spending some time outdoors, especially the first 5 to 10 to ideally 15 minutes in the morning, and you're watching that sunrise, your body and your brain is getting the message, it's time to wake up. And every single organ, every single energetic circuit, your entire nervous system wakes up and starts firing. It's at least 4 times better than drinking coffee in the morning. And not that I'm against coffee. Well, I've got my cup of Joe right here, to be honest. But it's about recognizing that really holistically wakes us up is actually natural sunlight in the mornings. And not only does it wake up every single cell in your body, it starts to increase the energy production from your mitochondria, the small organelles within inside your cells that produce ATP or energy. It also leads to your ability to produce optimal levels of melatonin. That's your powerful, it's time to go to bed, sleeping hormone. And you're going to the most beautiful and deep and restful nights of sleep that you've ever had in your entire life. Even if it takes a couple of days, for me, it even took, I think, a couple of weeks to start to notice that, thankfully, because I've already set a quite good day and night cycle. But however long it takes, it was amazing. And I mean, I started waking up earlier and more energized and more exuberant. You know how amazing it is to just get outdoors and enjoy nature and get the fresh air. Yeah, very, very powerful. So, on to point number 3. It's about moving our bodies. Now, you could insert exercise here, but I think in our 21st century, exercise has become a bit of a swear word, and many people see up to that extra amount of movement or the extra amount of exercise on top of your already silly schedule and exhausted body. But the paradox of it is that when you move your body, you gain extra energy as a result of that. You build muscle mass, and your muscles are increased with extra amounts of mitochondria. So you get extra energy back for the energy that you expend. It's not about killing yourself in the gym. So many people, we are now in July here in South Africa, and, people have set the most amazing New Year's goals, and into January and February, they wanted to go to the gym and get the fit and healthy bodies and all of this. So many of them fizzle out during that journey because they didn't think about that first one. What is my why? What's the passion and motivation that pulls me forward to help me to achieve these goals? And also about thinking that it is about recognizing that you can only do so much, and you can't jump from zero to hero. It's a journey. Start by walking, start by doing low intensity physical exercise like swimming. Go swim in the ocean, go swim in a lake or a river, wherever is safe and convenient for you to do so. And in Chinese medicine, they have a philosophy that movement is energy. So the more you move, the more the energy in your body starts to activate and run, and you'll get your bang back for your buck in terms of your extra spending energy and time towards movement. I think it's time for a coffee break. So you might be wondering, yeah, Franco, you're talking all about this, but you're drinking coffee. Well, coffee is not a bad thing. Anything in excess, yes, can be bad for us. But coffee is an amazing plant medicine. And when used and respected for what it is, you'll get great returns and give you balance in your life. If you start to rely on coffee, meaning you must have it to pull you through the day, yes, those are when the red flags are waving that something is amiss. And I'm assuming that'll be a lot of you watching this video. And now I'm going to give you a couple of tips to maximize your coffee use. And it's to understand that if you're waking up, and yes, you're tired and fatigued, you don't want to drink coffee the first thing in the morning. Why is that? Because your natural adrenaline and cortisol cycles will not be ready to pick up that stimulus from the caffeine that leads to adrenaline to actually pull you up with your natural hormonal cycle to give you the energy you want. It's like a dud. You take it and it doesn't actually do what you think it's going to do and give you the energy. You only start responding your body to that caffeine stimulus an hour, specifically an hour and a half, after you are awake. So, one of the things to get into routine, and if you're now looking for that cup of coffee in the morning, and I definitely do, is that you wake up a little bit earlier. You make a productive hour, an hour and a half, or 2 hours in your morning. You spend it outdoors, you have some sunlight. You start to get your day and prepare and get dressed, get ready for the day, and then you have your cup of coffee. And to add that additional biohack, that caffeine or that adrenaline hits your bloodstream in your stomach and gets absorbed very, very quickly. So you don't want to have that adrenaline spike and then a plummet at the end. You add a little of oils. I use coconut oil with my coffee. And that means that it slows down the absorption of the caffeine and you get a sustained hour-long release of the caffeine to give you that boost in the mornings. And you don't want to have coffee late in the day. I cut off my coffee intake to not have any caffeinated drinks after 4 p.m. in the afternoon. And generally, I would say I limit caffeine intake to 1 to 2 units or doses or cups of coffee a day, and definitely not in the night. You want to protect your sleeping pattern. And that's point number 4. It's how can we improve our sleeping pattern? Most of the sleeping pattern will be corrected naturally by having at least a couple of minutes to a couple of hours spent outdoors and direct sunlight. Ideally, first thing in the morning, a little bit in the midday, a little bit as the sun sets. If you get into the sunlight rhythm, you are spending time in direct sunlight and you are outside. It won't work when you're indoors just watching through a window like I am now. It's beautiful as it is, about only 20% of that UV light or radiation reaches me, and that's not enough to it's a great stimulation, it's a great motivator, it gives a lot of energy. It's been studies done on people that are in the hospitals in the window facing section, and how their health improves. This is in psychiatric hospitals, and they're able to leave the psychiatric unit 50% faster than people that are not in a light facing, a window facing area in the hospitals. That's just astounding. So when you're spending time outdoors and you're having direct sunlight, you're tapping into your body's natural hormonal cycle. So your body knows it's daytime, it's awake time, it's energy time. And when the light starts going away and the sun sets, so too does your body set, and your organs start to calm down and start to go into rest mode, hibernation mode. And then we have to be mindful of our light and stimulation. So an hour or two before bed, we want to start switching off all the lights, put on all the blue light filters that you can possibly get, and even buy blue block lenses, and whatever you need to do, you do that. And swapping out your white, very bright, because it's like sunlight, bulbs for red lights and natural, luminescent, old school Thomas Edison bulbs that are not full of blue light and full of like the same light as the sun. So no wonder we are not falling asleep well at night, because we're bathed in the same light signals that if the sun is still out, no wonder the body is not falling asleep. Point number 5, it's about having rest. Now, Franz, you may want to throw me with your cell phone or your laptop at this stage. Of course, I know I need rest. Of course, I know I need to recharge my battery. I don't have the time. I'm stressed. My goal list is like up to here. And yes, I get that. I do feel that. I know what it's like. One of the greatest peak performance experts in the world said that there is the grit to recovery. So people that perform at the highest levels possible, they are achieving superhuman feats and putting things out there that, really astonishes the world in terms of business success. They have a perseverance or a grit to schedule time for rest, for recovery. Ideally, you want to make a list of the things that looks like that for you. For those that can have more flexibility in their schedules and your own working hours, one of the greatest ways of doing this is to schedule a power nap, even if it was 10 minutes, ideally 20 minutes. There have been studies done to show that people that consistently take naps in the afternoon have at least a 40%, I think it was maybe a 30% decrease in heart attacks as they age, and an increased life expectancy. And we're not even talking about other metrics like that was potentially not measured, like more greater levels of joy and happiness, and coming into a flow state, which means that when you are working, you're getting the same amount of work done that might have taken you 4 hours in 1 hour, just because your brain and your energy is in sync to maximize that's peak performance, the activity that you've set yourself out to do. So schedule that rest time, prioritize your recovery. And this looks like also what athletes schedule for themselves. It's insane what some athletes can do. So they go through an on season and an off season, and there's almost 6 weeks where they are really taking it slow, and they have full days where they don't exercise at all. The triathlon training program I have from an SA champion has full rest days, more than one. It's not 6 or 7 days of exercise. It's important to prioritize your rest and recovery. There is something else, and that's active recovery, meaning instead of maybe, killing it in the gym, going biking or swimming or running, whatever you enjoy doing, whatever floats your boat, there are days where you can go walking. There are days that you can go sit in a sauna, go sit in a steam room. Sauna and the steam room is one of the most underrated medical technologies to improve our health and well-being. Has a ton of health and longevity boosting benefits. The sauna in and of itself has the ability to increase our life expectancy more than almost any pharmaceutical drug that has ever been tested. Yes, you heard me right. The sauna is actually one of the most powerful forms of medicine on this planet. On to point number 6. If you stayed on this long, I know that you're committed to your journey of recovering your energy and vitality. So I'm going to offer you probably the most important step, and this one that I wanted to mention first, but I've left the best for last. And number 6 is your mindset. It's really about getting yourself in a mood and a thinking pattern where it doesn't matter what comes your way, you're going to go through this journey of learning and adapting your lifestyle, your diet, your day pattern, your work pattern until you figure it out. And it's not about crushing your body, it's about respecting your body, it's about respecting your mind, about learning how you think and why you act in certain ways, thinking and looking under the hood of the car, as it were, to take yourself from a beat down bakkie, that's a word for a truck here in South Africa, to a F1 racing Ferrari, because we all have the capacity to run at those speeds, to fuel ourselves and to do the activities to make this engine run like the best supercar in the entire world. And one of the quickest ways to supercharge all of them is simply by adopting, it's not so simple necessarily, but it is straightforward. It's about adopting a mindset of gratitude. Gratitude is potentially the most powerful medicine in the world. It's called vitamin G. Take a dose of it every single day. If you wake up in the morning, you're grateful that you slept under a warm blanket. You've got food in the fridge. You've got a toilet. How many people in the world do not even have a toilet? And you are adapting your mind to think about what leads to the best outcomes in your life, because the law of attraction is real. If you start thinking about, wow, I'm grateful that I'm alive today. I'm grateful for my work. I'm grateful that I'm making an income. I'm grateful for my family, my wife, my husband, my partner. You'll start attracting love and gratitude from them in return. And the relational stresses of life that are real, really real, you'll start seeing them fade away and start seeing things turn towards your favor. Thank you so much for listening to me. This is Dr. Latoy signing out for today. Check out my next video to learn more about the 4-minute micro exercise to boost your oxygen levels in your body. Cheers, everyone.